This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson. News 25 is also brought to you by Silver State Health, Pahrumps exclusive pediatric care clinic. Call 775-505-1214 for an appointment.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It's Tuesday, April 6th.
Well, the state of Nevada, FEMA, and local partners have launched 2 mobile vaccination units, or MVUs, to support equitable distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine in rural and tribal areas where limited medical infrastructure exists. And one of those units is coming here to Pahrump.
The mobile COVID-19 vaccination units arrived in Nevada Saturday, and they hosted the first vaccination events today. One MVU will serve the northern portion of the state, the other the south, and they'll make dozens of stops from now through May 1st. The mobile units will offer the one-shot Janssen vaccine, and all vaccines will be provided to walk-up registrants on a first-come, first-served basis. The Janssen vaccine is available to those 18 and older. The South MVU made its first stop today at the Las Vegas Paiute Tribe. Then it heads to Pahrump for 3 days. If you'd like to get a COVID-19 vaccine, the mobile vaccination unit will be in front of the Bob Roode Community Center at Highway 160 and Basin Avenue. Hours are Thursday 11 to 7, Friday 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday 7 to 3. The MVU will also be making stops in Beatty, Goldfield, Tonopah, and Round Mountain. Dates and times for those locations will be announced soon. The mobile vaccination units will be staffed by registered nurses, vaccinators, vaccination preparers, and other support staff. The MVUs are expected to handle at least 250 people per day per location. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue medics will be on scene daily to respond to any adverse reactions to the vaccine, which have been rare.
And drugs are believed to be a factor in the arrest of a man this morning who was reportedly causing a disturbance at a local business.
On April 6 at about 9 a.m., a sheriff's deputy was working as a marked patrol unit in the area of 750 South Highway 160 and was dispatched to the Bank of America for a disturbance. The reporting party stated that there was a white male wearing no shirt and allegedly holding a big rock. The reporting party was worried that the male was coming toward her. She described the man to be wearing shorts, having brown hair, and tattoos. As the deputy arrived, he was then advised that the suspect was now near KFC, setting off vehicle alarms. The deputy saw a male matching the description walking near KFC on Rain Dance. The man was identified from previous encounters as Alan Goldstein. He was asked to drop what he had in his hands. Goldstein reportedly resisted, and a foot pursuit began. Goldstein was caught and taken into custody without further incident. A records check was conducted, and it revealed 3 felony warrants for his arrest. Goldstein was arrested for resisting a public officer, 2 counts of arrest on another agency warrant, and failure to appear after a bail for a felony crime.
Thanks to Missy Kohler for that report. Well, 2 people are killed during a wrong-way crash on Highway 215 near Summerlin Parkway in Las Vegas. According to Nevada Highway Patrol, preliminary investigation has revealed that on Saturday, April 3rd, at approximately 12:46 in the morning, a white 2006 Volkswagen Passat was traveling southbound on the highway in the northbound fast lane, which is the wrong way, approaching Far Hills. At the same time, a silver 2011 Scion XB was traveling northbound on the same highway directly ahead of the white Passat. The white Passat struck the silver Scion head-on. The drivers of each vehicle succumbed to their injuries sustained in the crash and were pronounced deceased on scene. The crash remains under investigation. The driver of the white Volkswagen Passat has been identified as 30-year-old Jacob Walring from Las Vegas. The driver of the silver Scion XB has been identified as 37-year-old Emil Sira Joseph from Las Vegas.
And 1 car sustained major damage, but fortunately no injuries were reported in a 2-vehicle accident this morning.
Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a 2-vehicle rear-end collision today on Highway 372, just west of Highway 160. No injuries were reported at the time of the crash. 1 vehicle sustained major front-end damage as a result of this accident. Both vehicles were pulled off the roadway into the Walgreens parking lot. The other vehicle involved only sustained minor damage.
And a man who is accused of intentionally running over a motorcyclist multiple times appeared in court for sentencing.
David Keogh was arrested in February of 2020 after deputies were called to a hit-and-run crash at an intersection north of State Route 372 along South Blag Road. Keogh was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, battery with a deadly weapon, and 2 failure to appear warrants. Witnesses informed deputies that a car rear-ended the motorcycle, ejecting the rider from the bike, and then ran him over 2 more times before leaving the scene. Keogh's defense attorney, Thomas Gibson, stated in court that Keogh did know the victim and had been following him too close and rear-ended him. The defense adamantly denied that Keogh ran over the victim as reported by witnesses. The state reiterated the witnesses' report that Keogh ran over the victim more than once. The victim did not appear in court to give an impact statement. When Judge Lane asked Keogh if he had anything to say, he apologized to the court, stating that he had learned his lesson and has since moved out of state. He said he now has a house and a good job. The state recommended probation in this case as Keogh pled guilty to reckless driving causing substantial bodily harm. Judge Lane sentenced Keogh to 28 to 72 months suspended, maximum probation for a Category B offense, standard fines and fees, and restitution of $208. Keogh will remain in Nevada until given special permission from parole and probation to leave.
All right, your financial news right after this break.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest-reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen proposes a global corporate tax. March was good for employment, and Tesla delivered a lot of cars in the first quarter. Angela Miles has details.
Topping our news, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is making a call for a minimum corporate tax rate that would be worldwide. Yellen says it would more level the playing field around the globe. The Biden administration is said to be considering a 28% tax rate for corporate America, up from the current 21%. Catching up on economic news, the number of jobs added in March jumped to 916,000. The unemployment rate ticked down to 6%. ISM manufacturing edged up to 64.7%, and the ISM non-manufacturing services number rose to 63.7%. The GameStop company is taking advantage of that whopper move in the stock. The video game retailer may sell up to $1 billion in shares and then use that money to build up its online business. Tesla surprised Wall Street. The electric car company delivered 184,800 vehicles in the first quarter.
Thanks, Angela. Well, News 25 is following some cases in Justice Court and around the state of Nevada. Missy Kohler has an update in the court report.
Christopher Holderson entered a plea in Justice Court and will see jail time for his offenses. Detectives captured Holderson after a foot pursuit on March 8th. Holderson was suspected of committing numerous crimes in the area around Bourbon Street. On March 4th, Nye County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a robbery. The victim reported that a man entered her house while she was home and stole her purse. Tips from the public suggested that the suspect was Holderson, and the victim identified him from a photo lineup. At the time he was caught, Holderson admitted to swallowing an undisclosed amount of pills and was transported to Desert View Hospital. Holderson is expected to plead guilty to escape by a prisoner and battery on a peace officer. He is facing 6 to 16 years in prison and will be expected to pay restitution to his victims. Leah Straka had a recent appearance in Justice Court. Straka was arrested after detectives executed a search warrant at her residence on November 14, 2020. During the course of an investigation, it was discovered that Straka was sending photos and videos of children to an additional suspect located in Alabama for the purpose of having sexual fantasies together over the phone. Straka admitted to sending at least 15 pornographic images and videos. She is facing charges of promotion of a sexual performance of a minor, possession of child pornography, use of a minor in production of pornography or as a subject of sexual performance, and child abuse resulting in substantial mental harm. 10 counts in all. A preliminary hearing is set for Straka on June 9th at 9 a.m. And North Las Vegas firm Bigelow Aerospace has filed a $1 million lawsuit against NASA for breach of contract. Bigelow says that the company has completed work under a NASA contract, but the agency will not make payment unless the company provides extensive recorded raw test data. That was collected during tests between December 2019 and August of 2020. Bigelow has developed and tested an expandable space module for NASA called the BA-330. Robert Bigelow, company founder, said, quote, I built the BA-330 with my own money. We signed a contract with NASA, and we were to be paid $1.56 million total. We did what we agreed to do. We not only monitored the spacecraft for 6 months as specified in the agreement, we did it for 8 months, end quote. The lawsuit does acknowledge some issues with power surges and computer failures, but says overall, it was a success. That's it for your court report. I'm Missy Kohler.
Thanks so much, Missy. And in other area news, it was catch and release for a curious mountain lion in Las Vegas recently.
The 60-pound female mountain lion was in a tree. She had been spotted in the Summerlin area mostly, but was captured in the Summit Club residential community near Town Center Drive and Flamingo Road. Wildlife officials worked with animal control to safely sedate the animal. She was transported to the Spring Mountain foothills, given medicine to reverse the sedation, and there she was released.
All right, glad she's okay. I was watching that video carefully to make sure.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have more news right after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by Canyon Ridge Periodontics. Give them a call at 702-966-0302.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, Clark County hopes a new initiative will encourage more Black and African American residents to get vaccinated so that Southern Nevada can get back to life.
Clark County, the Southern Nevada Health District, and community partners have launched the Back to Life campaign, spreading the message to the African American community that the COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, and will ensure the health and safety of all residents.
The Black community has had a negative interaction with government and vaccinations into the past, so we must never forget history. But one thing that I can say is that this vaccination or these vaccinations that we have available, whether it be Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, they're research-driven. They're scientifically proven to be effective, highly effective, and ultimately it will do exactly what we want to do, which is get us all the way back open, vaccinated, and get our community members back to life.
A series of public service announcements feature prominent members of the African American community. Their testimony is to take your shot to beat COVID-19. The African American population in Clark County is about 12%, but only half of the local Black residents are taking advantage of vaccine access.
If there's one message I hope you can take away today and share with your audiences is this: the COVID-19 vaccine is safe to get. I was extremely hesitant. I will say that. I received my vaccine and I'm okay. So the more immunity we can create, the more lives we can save.
Local business owner Carla Washington is one person who was hospitalized from COVID-19. She recovered and implores everyone to get their shots.
I've researched the COVID-19 vaccines, and I'm encouraging you all to do the same. Google it. Ask people in the medical field. Really, Google it. They've got a plethora of information. It's right there for you. Look up the common questions. Don't assume you know from hearsay.
More information on this campaign can be found at clarkcountynv.gov/backtolife. It includes links to community events and outreach for residents.
All right, great information. And we need to encourage all populations to get the vaccine. And a recent study is showing some encouraging results when it comes to COVID-19 and people with multiple sclerosis, or MS. Researchers found they are not at greater risk for complications, fortunately, due to the virus.
So it doesn't appear that having MS increases the risk for more complications. The rate of hospitalization, the rate of needing a ventilator, artificial ventilation, the rate of ICU admission, and the rate of death, they were all fairly similar to what we see in the overall North American population.
Dr. Robert Fox is a neurologist for Cleveland Clinic and is one of the study authors. He says they looked at data from more than 1,600 MS patients with COVID-19 in North America. America. For those unfamiliar, MS is an autoimmune disease that attacks the brain and spinal cord. He says they made some interesting discoveries, including how MS therapies impact COVID-19 complications. They found a majority of MS treatments didn't make a difference. However, there were a few that led to worse outcomes, like steroids. He says this information can be helpful for doctors when it comes to caring for patients and discussing prevention.
Of course, we recommend to all of our patients to do the standard things to avoid COVID-19, hand washing and masking and social distancing, but we emphasize it even more so in patients who are getting steroids or patients who are getting those MS therapies that put them at higher risk for complications.
As for the vaccine, Dr. Fox says they are recommending people with MS to get vaccinated. He says preliminary data shows it is considered safe.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, here's a look outside at that beautiful sky. The sun's peeking through the clouds, and we'll take a closer look at our forecast and what else we can expect on the horizon after this break.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hola, amigo. Happy Taco Tuesday. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios, and let's take a look at your weather on a Tuesday. Beautiful afternoon all up and down the state. Northern part of the state, you saw temperatures up in the upper 60s. Tonopah, Goldfield down to the mid-60s, but then heating up as we head on down the road. Beatty saw 77. Amargosa, Las Vegas, all the way up into the 80s, and in Death Valley, 92 big degrees. Here in the Paradise of Pahrump, well, it was pretty nice too. 78 degrees is our current temperature. We saw as much as 80 degrees earlier today. The winds out of the west-northwest to 14 miles per hour, keeping the dew level down. Humidity at 6% as the sun rose this morning at 6:22 a.m. in all its glory, and it will set amazingly at 7:10 tonight. Look for that sunset. It's going to be nice. Partly cloudy skies always make some interesting color variations. Let's take a look as we head on into the week. What do we got? A little bit of clouds tomorrow. But then the winds are going to be blowing out all of that. We're going to have 4 days of nothing but pure sunshine on into the weekend. Winds averaging around, let's say 12 miles per hour as we head on into the total week. And it looks like we're pretty steady Eddie at highs of 85 and lows tonight around 55, 56 degrees. It's going to be glorious. All right, let's head up to the desk. It's Unette, Indiana.
Thanks so much, John. We want to talk a little bit about what happened at the Board of County Commissioners. A lot of people have been asking us what was the decision on one of the agenda items, which was the discussion and deliberation to fully open Nye County to 100% occupancy. And number two, based on the CDC guidelines, recommend not mandating mask wearing here in Nye County. Nye County will not violate a citizen's constitutional rights if wearing a mask is against their religion or they are exempt per the governor's orders and directives. And of course, direct the county manager to fully reopen all county town offices under their control. And of course, to leave any localities not under their control to purview their respectful board's discretions. We want to talk a little bit about that because a lot of people think that this is different than it really is. And we were listening to some of the agenda items live right before we went to news. And so basically what the county is saying is that they're saying that they want to say that you don't have to wear a mask if the governor says that that's okay. So the governor still has a mask mandate.
Exactly.
And so that of course, you know, is basically a declaration.
Yes,
right?
That's going to supersede things unless corporate decisions take place. And
so if there's a store that requires you to wear a mask, you're still going to have to wear a mask.
Yes.
And then also, of course, they're saying if it's against your religion to wear a mask. We are not sure what religion that is. We tried to look up a religion that had that. And so that was a bit of something that was not explained. But all in all, as far as that decision is concerned, they decided to postpone it. I know that the district attorney did discuss a little bit about how this should be reworded for better clarification.
Yes.
We've had a lot
To
of
eliminate
confusion, and there
yes.
is a lot of confusion
Yes.
on this. So I want to let people know that. And of course, the town and county offices are currently all open.
Yes.
The only thing that would really come into play here is the opening 100% in all of
Right.
the businesses who decided to
Full
allow
capacity,
that.
but then again, corporate decisions would take place. If they decide they only want 50% capacity for the safety of their patrons, then that would be the de facto ruling.
So it's all to say that they're not going out there and stopping people and getting you in trouble for not wearing a mask, which is something that Nye County has already said that they do not do. So we'll let you know more on this item in the coming days.
Yes,
and
we'll continue
May
to follow
1st.
this story for you.
There you go. And that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unat Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and 8th Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next newscast.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.